The first time the Galactic Academy of Applied Survival admitted a human, the faculty quietly prepared medical teams, psychological counselors, and, if one believed the rumors, a fully staffed diplomatic incident control group. Everyone else just prepared popcorn. Humans, across the galaxy, were whispered about the way old spacer legends described plasma storms or rogue AI ghosts. Dangerous, unpredictable, resilient in ways that politely defied common sense. But most students assumed the stories were exaggerations. Every species had myths about Deathworlders, and surely the humans couldn't be that bad. They were wrong. The human's name was Lira Halden, a 17-year-old girl from a blue-green world whose environmental rating sat firmly in the Class 9 Death World, avoid unless suicidal category. She was short compared to the towering Jalathi, wiry compared to the armored Karneks, and soft-skinned compared to everyone. She smiled too much. She laughed too easily. And yet Kareth Vorowin, top of the survival class for 3 cycles running, found himself watching her the way one might watch a plasma blade that had been left turned on. It wasn't that she was hostile. She was relentlessly friendly. It was the way she moved. Every gesture felt economical, her eyes scanning without seeming to. It was the way she looked at a problem with a kind of quiet inevitability, as if she expected the worst to happen and was already preparing for it. And it was the way she carried herself during drills.
Calm.
Patient. Focused. As if danger wasn't a possibility, just a fact of life. By week 4, no one doubted the rumors anymore. The assignment. The Academy prided itself on one ultimate exam, the forging trial. A survivalist's blade wasn't just a weapon. It was a symbol of adaptation, resourcefulness, and will. Students were sent into the Academy's massive simulation dome, an ever-shifting biome filled with hazards, and were given one instruction: forge a blade using whatever the environment provides. Typically, students melted down or using portable microfurnaces, shaped composite materials, or crafted crystalline tools. The emphasis was on engineering skill and environmental understanding. But the instructor, Vekare of the Sharan, had a wicked grin when she announced a twist. Your tech allowances are removed for this exercise. You may not use any pre-manufactured tools. You will spend 5 hours in the dome. You will emerge with a functioning blade. Groans filled the auditorium. A few students whispered panicked questions. Kareth smirked. This played directly to him. Karneks born with natural heat glands and armored claws. He could shape volcanic stone with his bare hands. Lira just tilted her head. Any restrictions on what we use? She asked. Vekare regarded her with amusement. If the dome provides it, it is permitted. Somewhere in the faculty observation booth, someone sighed. Someone else updated the incident report template. Entry into the dome. The dome shimmered around the students, dynamically forming an ecosystem. Twisted red trees, thick brush, dusty ground, and the distant sound of predatory calls. The sun above was artificial, but its heat was very real. Lira inhaled deeply. Kareth, beside her, scoffed. Trying to smell danger? Trying to smell direction, she replied, cheerful. Sun's setting that way. Breeze is from there. Moisture's higher that direction. Water source, maybe? You're bizarre, he muttered. Thanks, she smiled. Where are you heading? Stone outcropping. Best place to shape something usable. Smart, she nodded, then wandered off toward the thicker forest. Kareth watched her for a moment, shook his head, and trudged toward his rocky salvation.
Poor human, he thought.
Let's see how she makes a blade out of twigs and leaves. Human solutions. Lira worked quickly. The forest was filled with predators, small ones, quick ones, toothy ones. She didn't bother avoiding them. She merely kept her footsteps quiet and her breathing slow. Back on Earth, Her father had taught her something vital. The forest is always speaking. If you listen to it, it will tell you where death is. And if you listen harder, it'll tell you where life is. She found both. Within 20 minutes, she discovered the remains of some large creature, a dome simulation hybrid with the skeleton of a megafauna predator. Its ribcage lay cracked, marrow drying in the warm air. "Oh," she murmured. "Perfect." She knelt and inspected a rib. Dense bone, naturally curved, a tapered end. "Most of the work's already done," she said to herself. Predators circled her, curious. She did not make any sudden movements. When one, a wolf-scaled thing with 4 eyes, crept too close, she hissed sharply. It flinched back and scampered off. Lira carried the rib to a flat rock, found a second stone, and began sharpening it. Not grinding metal, just sharpening bone. Back in the observation room, instructors froze. "She's making a bone blade?" one whispered. "With her bare hands?" another asked. "Should we intervene?" a third whispered. The chief administrator leaned back slowly.
"No."
"This is extremely within the rules. Unsettling, but within the rules." In the dome, Lira kept sharpening and humming. Others struggle. Kareth struggled with his quarry. He had the raw materials, obsidian-like volcanic stone, but without tools, shaping it was a nightmare. His natural heat glands could warm the stone, but not melt it. His claws could chip pieces away, but the risk of shattering was high. He wasn't alone in struggling. Across the dome, a Jalathi student accidentally snapped their crystal formation. A feathered Cillian cut themselves repeatedly trying to flake stone. A metal-skinned Ralix discovered that bare-hand forging was harder than it looked. 5 hours was suddenly feeling short. Yet Kareth caught sight of Lira at hour 2. She was crouched by a stream, still sharpening what looked like a shard of bone. Her movements were precise and rhythmic, like someone who had done this hundreds of times. And her blade, if one could call it that, was coming out beautifully. Kareth walked over. "That is bone." She said, testing the edge with her thumb. A bead of blood appeared. She nodded approvingly. "Good density. Polishes well." "Where did you even get it?"
400 meters that way."
Something big died. "Nature's gift." "We're supposed to forge a blade," he grumbled. "We are," she said brightly. "I'm forging the edge." "With what?" "Rocks." "With elbow grease." Kareth rubbed the bridge of his nose. "Lira, you're insane." "I get that a lot." Predators come. Hour 3. The dome shifted its difficulty parameters. Predators became bolder. The forest grew darker. The environment tightened its grip. Students scrambled to protect themselves until they realized the predators were avoiding a section of the forest entirely. Avoiding Lira. She wasn't threatening them. She simply wasn't afraid of them, and predators in the dome responded to fear. So she hummed and sharpened, and the animals circled around her like cautious ghosts. At one point, a sleek, cat-like beast approached and sat beside her silently, watching her work. She gave it a piece of bone as thanks. It sniffed, accepted it, and wandered away. In the observation booth. Is she befriending the predators? She's bribing them with bones. She's bribing a simulation with environmental modifiers. If she passes this class, I'm reevaluating the death world danger scale. Competition turns. Hour 4. Most students were finally producing something that resembled a blade. The academy's instructors relaxed slightly. Then Kareth shouted, "Incoming!" A bulk of fur and claws barreled toward him, a dome-spawn apex predator, 6 legs, massive jaws. He hadn't noticed it stalking him while he was shaping the final edge of his stone blade. He tried to retreat, but it was fast. Too fast. Lira heard his shout. She reacted instantly. Bone blade in hand, she sprinted through the brush. Her footsteps were feather-light but rapid. She arrived just as the predator lunged. Kareth threw his arm up to protect his face, but the attack never landed. Lira's blade, white, polished, wickedly sharp, pressed gently against the predator's throat. Just enough pressure. Just enough intent. The predator froze. Lira didn't blink. "Easy," she whispered. "Easy, big guy. Wrong meal." The beast lowered its massive head and backed away, rumbling irritably, before slinking into the brush. Kareth exhaled shakily. "You threatened an apex predator." "I negotiated with it," she corrected. "You put a bone knife to its throat." "Everyone speaks sharp, pointy thing, Kareth. You are terrifying." She grinned. "Thank you." The final hour. Students gathered near the dome's exit as the final hour ticked down. Some carried crystal blades, some stone, some metal sand composites. Each looked proud in their own way. Then Lira approached. Her blade was white as moonlight, slim, slightly curved, and polished to a fine sheen. The grip was wrapped in plant fibers, tight and clean. The edge looked like it could slice a leaf drifting in air. Everyone stared. Cillian whispered, "She forged a Deathworlder weapon from a corpse." Jalathi murmured, That's artistry." Even Kareth shook his head with begrudging admiration. "You made that with your hands. And rocks. And patience," she added. "You terrify me." Still hearing that a lot. The evaluation. Instructor Vekare inspected each blade. She praised the Jalathi for precision, the Ralix for durability, the Carnex for heat-shaping technique. Then she reached Lira. She examined the bone knife. She ran her claw along the edge. She checked the balance. She sniffed it because Sharans did that sometimes. Then she looked up at Lira. "What is its name?" Lira blinked. "Its name? Every survivalist blade is named. What is yours called?" Lira considered. "Second chance," she said softly. "Explain." "It came from something that died. But now it's a tool that helps me survive. It gets another life through me." Vekare's tendrils raised in approval. "And how did you forge it?" "With my hands. Stones for shaping. Stream for polishing. Fibers for grip." "You did not fear the predators." "Well, fear's useful, but not if you let it steer you." Vekare stared for a long time, then stamped the approval seal. "Top marks." A gasp rippled through the class. Kareth groaned. "Of course, she gets top marks." Lira blushed. "Thank you." The aftermath. Back in the main academy hall, students buzzed with conversation. Some argued Lira had cheated by using bone. Others insisted it was genius. A few whispered, half-awed, "Humans are terrifying." Lira sat on a bench cleaning her blade. Kareth approached, hands in pockets. "You know," he said, "in Carnex culture, forging a blade with bare hands makes you a warrior artisan." "Cool," she said. "In Sharan culture, using organic material shows spiritual creativity." "Neat." "And in Ralix culture, crafting a survival tool from a corpse makes you a monster."
"Ah." He smirked.
"They mean it respectfully." Lira nodded. "I like this place." "Of course you do," he muttered. "It's a death trap. It's educational. You're insane. I like to think I'm adaptable." She sheathed her bone blade. "Also, thanks for not dying earlier." He stared at her. "Thank you for stopping that giant murder beast. We make a good team," she said. He hesitated, then nodded.
"Yeah,
we do." The Academy Council meets. In the highest tower of the Academy, the Council gathered. They reviewed dome footage. Lira using predators as early warning systems. Lira sharpening bone with calm precision. Lira staring down an apex creature until it backed off like a scolded house pet. One elder finally spoke. Should we consider adjusting the human danger classification? Another replied. Up. Obviously up. A third sighed. Someone notify the Galactic Union. The humans have officially joined our academy. And we are all doomed. Epilogue, a human's touch. Lira continued forging tools throughout the semester.
Bone. Wood.
Stone. Sometimes metal scrap from malfunctioning academy drones. Whenever someone asked why she kept using primitive materials, she answered, "Because I like knowing I can survive even when everything else fails." But when they asked why she helped other students during drills, even those who mocked her, she replied, "Because tools are only half of surviving. The other half is people." Even Kareth respected that. By the end of the cycle, she was the Academy's unofficial survival tutor. And whenever new students whispered fearfully about humans, older ones corrected them.
No.
You don't need to fear humans. A pause. Unless you make them improvise. And somewhere in her dorm, Lira polished Second Chance, humming softly. A human girl on a faraway world, teaching the galaxy what survival truly looked like.